common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
More money on WABC Radio, 1 o'clock. Of course, 173 countries and the stratosphere and everything else.
Absolutely. No, we only tell that to Kudlow.
All right. All right. No stratosphere. I'm sorry, no stratosphere.
No stratosphere. Steve Moore. The market was up to 41,000 something. It's down a couple of 100 points today. What's going on? Is it going to be a half a point drop in September?
So great to be with you guys. And by the way, it's an honor to be considered the second best economist behind my buddy Larry Kudlow. Look, this week we had what a lot of people are calling the Trump rally. Remember, he was shot on Saturday, and a remarkable recovery. He's shown incredible courage under fire. His numbers skyrocketed in the polls, and all of a sudden, Monday morning, the stock market opens up and people are buying stocks. I think there is a Trump effect here. I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's maybe it's just a temporary effect, but no question about it. And then he gives that incredible speech last night, which really unified the party. I was there in Milwaukee for the convention, and boy, was that thing. I've been to a lot of conventions, John, and I got to tell you,
this was the best
as well. That was the most unified convention I have been to. People are pumped up, and I think that gave a little bit of confidence to people.
Steve Moore, there was rumors around that on last Friday, before the shooting on Saturday, that there was $1 billion short in the market on Trump stock. Has anybody verified that?
Wait. Define what you mean by that.
That there's somebody went out and shorted the stock, $1 billion worth of stock.
Stock market, why? Because they thought Trump was going to get elected, or because they didn't think he would be elected?
Well, something happened on Saturday.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I think
if they were successful, I guess the $1 billion would have been worth $5 billion. So you haven't heard anything about that?
I have not heard that.
But, please investigate it so we can talk about it maybe tomorrow.
Sorry?
Please investigate it. See if it's true.
All right, Steve.
We'll
do you know anything about it, Ed Cox?
I'd never heard about it.
Okay, I've heard about it.
I've heard about it, too.
I've
heard about it, too. It'd be interesting to see what more is there. I agree. That's fascinating, John.
Well, running around the convention.
If they shorted the market on Saturday,
Friday,
they lost a lot of money.
Well, they thought it might be successful. I guess that's why you shorted. Let's move on. What is your opinion of what's going on right now?
Sorry, what do I hear about what?
What's your opinion of what the markets are doing?
I think that there's a couple factors. I do think there's a bit of a Trump factor, a bit of optimism among all Americans and investors about the future. And I also think that there's a optimism that the Fed is going to cut interest rates, John. And I know that brings a smile to your face because you and I have been arguing about this for the last 6 months. But yes, I think you're right, John. It is time for the Fed to cut interest rates.
It's about time before all the banks go bankrupt. We're only going to have 5 banks left in America.
That's right. I mean, I think I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see, if Trump puts in place even half the policies he talked about yesterday, sealing the border, cutting taxes, reducing regulations, promoting American energy, all of that is incredibly pro-growth, very bullish, Rita. I think that agenda is the best agenda I've seen on the economy since Ronald Reagan ran for president in 1980.
Wow. And he focused a lot on it last night, talking about how it's costing everybody when they go to he spent a lot of time. I thought it was very powerful. Ed Cox?
All right, Steve, I'm going to put you on the spot. Question I've asked Larry Kudlow.
Oh, Ed Cox.
Here it is.
Ed Cox, New York State Chairman.
All right. So, third quarter last year, 4.9% annualized growth in the GDP. First quarter this year, it was down to 1.4% annualized growth.
Yep.
Is that going to keep going down in the sense that we end up with stagflation?
Well, the second quarter number is about the same, about 5. I don't think we have the official number yet, but it's because the second quarter just ended. But it's going to be about 1.5%, maybe at the most 2. Yeah, look, I think it's a mediocre economy. I think it's doing okay, but it's so underperforming, and we can't bring down the deficit. We can't create the jobs that we need. We can't have higher wages with economic growth at that kind of snail's pace. I mean, we should be growing twice as fast. We have the capacity to do it. We have just put out a report at Unleashed Prosperity saying we could be producing 3 or 4 million more barrels of oil a day, each day. That's $200 million more dollars a day for the nation's economy if we would just do what Trump is talking about, drill, baby, drill. So the capacity for growth is there, but Biden's policies on regulation and tax and anti-business are just hurting the ability for the economy to expand.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Steve Moore. We really appreciate it.
Steve Moore is going to be on after the number one economist in the country. Steve. Larry Kudlow is on from 10 to 1. And Steve Moore is on from 1 to 3.
And he's going to investigate what you said.
John, I keep coming on your show. I need you to come on my show. But the other thing I want to mention to your listeners is I've got Doug Burgum coming on, the North Dakota governor, who was in second place. I've got Hogan Digley,
he gave a great speech.
Yeah, he did.
Spokesman for Trump, so it's going to be a really fun show tomorrow.
And he would make a great Department of Energy, Secretary of Department of Energy.
Yeah, or Department of Commerce, one or the other.
Okay, thank you, Steve Moore, and we'll talk about it real soon.